The opinions and statements expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WWDB, its staff, or management.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of Boomer Generation Radio. This is your host, Richard Address, coming to you from the studios of WWDB AM 860 here in Greater Philadelphia and streaming live on WWDBAM.com. Welcome to the Kendall segment of Boomer Generation Radio. This portion of Boomer Generation Radio is brought to you by Kendal, a system of not-for-profit communities and services located in 8 states in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and near Midwest regions of the United States. Kendal advocates for and empowers older adults to reach their full potential and is committed to working with others to together transform the experience of aging. To learn more about Kendal, which is Kendal, we invite you to visit Kendal.org or call them toll-free at 888-759-0128. That's 888-759-0128. And from the Kendall home in Westlake, Ohio, which is, I think, near Cleveland, I hope, we're very, very pleased to welcome to Boomer Generation Lynne Giacobbe, Executive Director of Kendall At Home in Ohio. Lynne, are you there?
I am here. Thank you very much.
Hi, welcome. How's you're in Cleveland, right?
We are. We're in the greater Cleveland area, yes.
Well, how's life in Cleveland today?
Well, it's not snowing, so that's a good day.
Yeah. You've had the same winter we had here in Philadelphia, so it's...
we have. It's been brutal.
Yeah.
But it is. There are definitely signs of spring in the air.
Yes. People here have seen the sun. They don't know what to do with it. They're just... they're sacrificing animals. They just, what did we do right, maybe?
It definitely makes you feel better to see the sunshine.
Oh, no
sure.
question. No question about it. Kendall At Home is something I'm really fascinated to talk to you about this for a whole variety of reasons. Something's going on in this home care industry with older adults and now boomers moving into perhaps this area. And I in preparation for this conversation, I actually ran across a piece of an interview from the PBS NewsHour a while ago that talked about this desire, more part on the desire of baby boomers now to really be taken care of at home. This we don't want to go into a nursing home, but we're going to, if necessary, move in with friends of ours and age in place in a home surrounded by people we're familiar with. So that triggered again our conversation on Kendall at Home. What is this, and why is it so evidently quite unique?
Well, it is very unique across the country, very unique within the Kendall system. If you're familiar with Kendall, you know that what Kendall is known for are continuing care retirement communities where people actually leave their home and go to live on the retirement community campus and a cottage or an apartment and become a part of that environment. And Kendall has done that exceedingly well for over 40 years. But what Kendall at Home has done is taken that same concept of life care and really brought it to people who maybe don't want to leave the home they currently live in, but really value the kind of benefits that a continuing care retirement community can offer. And really we work collaboratively with our members to help enable them to remain successfully in their homes as they age. And we started this program about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Have served over 200-plus members in that 10-year period, and not one of them is living permanently in a nursing home. All of them are living in their own homes, some with lots of care in place, and others successfully independent, or maybe with little care intermittently after a knee replacement or an illness or a hospitalization. But, the goal is to help all of us remain as independent as possible for as long as possible.
So you mentioned members. So walk me through this. A member, what does that mean?
Well, it's actually very similar to the way our retirement communities work. The time that someone really begins thinking about putting a plan in place, like Kendall At Home, they're relatively healthy and independent, not in need of a great deal of care at that time. They join our program, and they pay an entry fee and a monthly fee. And the entry fee is based on their age at the time that they come into the program and the program option that they select. And there are various options that a person can select. Most people tend to come into the program under our most comprehensive option, which covers all of their care in their home, in assisted living, or in a facility should they need that over their lifetime. So they pay that entry fee one time, and they begin paying a monthly fee when they join the program, and then they're assigned a care coordinator. And that care coordinator, as your previous guest talked a little bit about well coaches, those kinds of philosophies, we really apply that philosophy when working with our members. Our goal is to help them remain healthy and independent and to achieve their goals. And their goals are what's important. And we work closely with them over the years they're in the program. Often we're working even with their family or loved ones who might be involved. And as their care needs change, we're coordinating the services that they need, and we also pay for those services as they need them.
Does this preempt my using my own primary care doctor? I suppose I have a relationship with my doc for 10, 15, 25 years. Is he?
No, that's a great question. We partner with your primary care physician, your specialist. If you're having a knee replacement, your orthopedic surgeon would become a part of our treatment team and would be working with us to help direct and guide the kinds of services that they feel are necessary. So, for example, they may recommend physical therapy, inpatient or outpatient, and we'll be working with them to help deliver those services to you. So it's coordinating all the kinds of services you might need, whether it's skilled home health care, rehab, therapy, private duty home care, whatever it might be. We're going to be bringing all of those pieces together to deliver seamlessly to you in your home if possible. And if not, we'll coordinate that rehabilitation stay in a skilled rehab center, and then at the time that a person is ready to go home, we're helping to prepare them for discharge and making sure that the services they'll need at home will be in place when they get there.
So this care coordinator, if I'm understanding, it's like the captain of the team, to lapse into my usual sports imagery. Would that be correct? That this care coordinator sort of like is the captain and assigns the duties and roles and on an as-need basis?
They are. They really are directing the care team to deliver the services that the member needs. The member is really driving the care plan. It's the member that's sort of that hub at the spoke in the wheel that is really driving. They're the center of everything. And our goal is to try to meet their needs and help them to achieve whatever level of independence they're striving for. So that care coordinator really serves as their advocate. When they're hospitalized, we're going to be at the hospital. We're coordinating discharge. We're really bringing all the services together and directing that care plan for them. And then we're working closely with that member to make sure their needs are being met. And if the member is not in a position where they're able to drive that care plan, then we're working with their loved one, whomever they've entrusted the power to make the decisions for them.
What's the minimum? Is there a minimum age that someone would be eligible to enter this program?
Well, our program really is priced at probably about 50 and up. Our youngest member is in her late 50s, and our oldest member died recently at the age of 102.
Good.
So there's no limit to, how old someone might be when they come into the program.
But from what I'm hearing you say, the sort of like the minimum age to be considered for this is the post-AARP cutoff. It's 50 years of age. Is that right?
Yes, currently that's correct.
So this is based right now from the Kendal facility in Cleveland. I guess that one of the obvious questions that is this just localized to how are there other programs like this evolving around the United States?
There are. We actually are not part of a facility at all. We are not part of a retirement community campus. We're located independently. We are closely connected to Kendall at Overland, which is the retirement community located here in the Cleveland area. It's actually in Lorain County, which is about 25 miles west of Cleveland, or at least of our location. And they serve approximately 300-plus residents on the campus there. We are located separately and really operate quite separately. We have some strong connections with them and some shared services, and many of our members who live in that general area benefit from the partnership we have with them. They're able to take advantage of services and activities that take place on the campus. But by and large, most of our members live in counties further away from that Kendall campus and really don't participate in much of the campus life at all. For many years, there have been about 5 programs like this across the country. One actually in your neck of the woods in the Philadelphia area, Friends Life Care, has been around for probably a little over 20 years. And then there have been a few more programs that cropped up, and for a long time that was it, just the 5 of us. And then slowly that began to grow. What we're seeing now is significant growth in this area. We know people want to remain in their homes if at all possible. Not everyone can afford the benefits of a beautiful continuing care retirement community. This provides maybe a little more affordable option for some, and it allows people that really want to remain in their homes the ability to do that. And the beauty of it is that if they change their mind and they decide they want to move later on, they can. Some of our members have even moved to the retirement community campus, and we have developed a tandem contract with them so that they're able to continue to receive the benefits of Kendall at Home, and then they move onto the campus under a different contract than they might have otherwise. But as we see programs growing, we also see a great opportunity for Kendall to be able to expand this model across the system. And, in fact, we're working on that development of the expansion now.
Yeah, from everything I'm reading and everything I'm picking up and the people I talk to, especially our generation, there really is this sense of that moving into that assisted living facility, that's the last resort. That's the last thing. And I would stay at home if at all possible. And I know the economic challenges of this can be overwhelming. I see a lot of these families in my office, and sometimes, as you know, the challenges of economics. So this idea, I imagine, of just paying a fee, which would guarantee it's almost sparking in my mind something like Concierge Medicine. I'm paying a fee, and for that fee, I'm going to be able to be taken care of on my terms in my home, to the best of everyone's ability until a crisis occurs where I really have to leave. Is that a bad analogy, that concierge type of a...
No, that's really very closely related to how this program operates. And, that's very true. I think we all know people that have a loved one has gone to a nursing home. They've spent down their assets. They've had to resort to Medicaid to cover the cost of their care over time. Often families are strapped financially trying to provide the kind of care a loved one needs and trying to keep them at home. It's so hard to think about how do we plan ahead for that care. What might those costs be? How likely are we to even need that care? And we know that, over 80% of us over the age of 65 are going to need care at some point.
What percentage?
Over 80% of us
Oof.
are going to need care at some point over the age of 65. And the average length of time that someone needs home care is over 4 years. And the average length of time that we're seeing people live in nursing homes is almost 2.5 years. So when you think about the costs, and in our area, the cost for a nursing home can range anywhere from, $80,000 a year and up. And that's just your basic services in a semi-private room in a nursing home. When you add that to all of the other services that a person might need, it can be astronomically expensive. And how do you plan for that? Experts will tell us that we need to have, nearly $500,000 in order to plan ahead for our future care needs. So we think this is a much more affordable way of doing that. Someone at the age of 75 coming into this program is going to pay less than $50,000 for that membership entry fee. And they'll begin paying that monthly fee. But now they really have a plan in place so that as they need care, that care is going to be delivered to them. Someone with expertise is going to be able to help direct that care plan, oversee the caregivers to make sure that their care needs are being met, relate that back to the family who oftentimes are living all across the country, and we can communicate with them, what's happening with their loved one. We have a number of members right now struggling with dementia and family members who are nowhere near here, but concerned about their safety and well-being. They know that they have the resource of that care coordinator whom they can rely on to help put a safety plan in place and make sure that caregivers are there when they need to be, and that the care that is being delivered to their loved one is of the quality that they would want it to be. So the role that that care coordinator plays and the financial plan that they're able to put in place really does provide the optimum level of care we believe that we're able to deliver to people that want to be a part of this kind of program.
We're speaking with Lynne Giacobbe, the executive director of Kendall At Home in suburban Cleveland, the Cleveland area in Ohio. And this is just a reminder, since we're speaking about this, that this portion of Boomer Generation Radio today is brought to you by Kendall At Home, which, as we're learning, is a continuing care retirement community without walls. An affiliate of Kendall of Northern Ohio, Kendall At Home works with older adults who are healthy and independent, have planned for their retirement, and want very much to remain in their own homes. Kendall At Home brings new opportunities for growth and development to those individuals who wish to remain in their homes and well connected to their much-loved community, and yet who still value the benefits of a retirement community that can be offered through that community. And we invite you, as we're learning more from Lynne, to visit www.kendalathome. That's one continuous word, KENDALATHOME, kendalathome.org. And you're listening to Boomer Generation Radio here on WWDB AM 860 in the Delaware Valley, streaming live on www.dbam.com. And just a reminder, if you want to contact the program for some suggestions or comments, you can email us at boomergenerationradio@gmail.com. That's boomergenerationradio@gmail.com. And again, you're listening to Boomer Generation Radio on WWDB AM 860 here in the greater Philadelphia area, streaming live on www.dbam.com. Back with Lynne Giacobbe, the executive director of Kendall At Home in Ohio. This whole idea is, as you're saying, emerging. It's still somewhat of a pioneer effort. Are you getting any, just a thought occurred to me, are you getting any reaction or pushback from the established nursing home lobby on this? Do they see this as an intrusion or a possible threat, or is this totally off base?
No, in fact, we have strong partnerships with the nursing homes in our area because they are a strong provider for us. Many of our members, as is the case for so many of us, our joints wear out, knee replacements and hip replacements, or people get ill and, need some time to recuperate. And there are some phenomenal rehabilitation programs that are developed out of these nursing homes. And so we are working hand in hand with them to provide those kinds of services to our members. It is really a core business for each of these nursing homes that provide rehabilitative services to be able to provide the kind of care a member needs in that after that kind of a situation, a hospitalization, a surgery, an illness where they need that. So it isn't that our members aren't utilizing those services. They are. They just aren't utilizing them on a permanent basis. The goal is for them to get back home. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily our goal or our decision. I can tell you that there are probably nights that I might sleep a little easier knowing that a member is in a nursing home where there's 24-hour staff available and someone to call in case of an emergency. But I think that decision isn't mine to make. Mm-hmm. It's the members, their families, their loved ones' decision. And by and large, they want to be in their homes, in the place that they feel most comfortable. And that's what we really strive to achieve, is to help them to maintain the kind of life that they would like to live. And that's what we do. So it really is driven by them. But no, I think that those nursing homes are strong partners for us because they are providing much-needed services to people and enabling them to get stronger and get healthy and independent again and return home.
You were talking a lot about the medical support that Kendall at Home will provide, but as you know, and as many people do know, that part of the medical condition of a human being is also involved with emotional or spiritual concerns on a more holistic approach. So in the Kendall at Home model, mm-hmm. How are these emotional or spiritual concerns, which will impact healing and one's relationship to illness, how are they handled, or are they handled?
Well, I think that was a fear that we all had when we started 10 years ago. How will we meet those types of needs? What about socialization? How important that is. The last thing we want is for a member to be isolated and alone in their home. So how are we going to reach those kinds of goals? And, I think probably the other strong point is that Kendall, one of the strongest things that you'll see in any Kendall community is the kind of environment that's created because of the people that live there. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing to watch, but Kendall at Home members have created a community. They have book groups they run. They have bird watching events. They meet at orchestra or a movie or a play. They have events that they'll participate in with us. We have healthy aging events that we host for them. They have a strong relationship with our medical director. We have an Ask the Medical Director session at every healthy aging event. So they just have some time to sit and chat and talk about things that are of concern to them. But most importantly, they have the opportunity to interact with one another. They have their own member publication. They write a quarterly newsletter called Le Chat, and they come up with all kinds of topics that they choose to write about. We had a member who did a skydive a few months ago, and the cover of the Le Chat is a picture of her in the midst of her skydiving. And so all of those things really that we were so concerned about in an at-home program have really come to fruition. And what we're finding now is that members are reaching out to one another. We had a philanthropy visioning exercise last week with a group of members, and they talked about a member whose sight has really become impaired, and she's not able to read recipes any longer. And there's lots of books on tape and things like that, but she hasn't been able to find a resource for reading recipes and exploring cooking the way she liked to do. So another member has offered to help her and is reaching out and will read recipes to her and those types of things. So I think that we're finding that they have developed a community and have a strong connection to one another. It's a little different. They don't all live in the same place. They don't have dinner together every night, but they've found ways to connect with one another for those that feel that's important. Others, I find, are still very much engaged in their communities and in the things that are important to them and have been important to them for so many years. So those are all a part of what goes into designing and meeting the needs of each of those members.
Yeah, I think it's important because I think when you first hear about this, you have this image of, let's say 100 members living in their own homes scattered around perhaps, Cuyahoga County. And it's important, I think, for people to consider this, or even people who are thinking of developing something. You have a brick and mortar facility that people can come to, correct?
There is a brick and mortar facility in Overland, which, as I said, is important for people that live in the Overland area. The majority of our members, though, don't live anywhere near that community. So
where do they go? Where do they go for these?
They might come here to our office for an event. We
that's what I mean.
Events all over the community.
Okay.
We try to host our events in the communities where they live. So, or we'll try to find a place that's centrally located. So we have a few places that we host events at that we hope are fairly easy for people to get to, and they'll come and spend a day, involved in an event or have lunch together. We do an annual clam bake, and that's always a very popular event. A couple years ago, we hosted our clam bake at the Cleveland Indians ballpark in the Terrace Club, and members got a behind-the-scenes look at the dugout and the locker rooms and the press room, and really had a fun afternoon just engaging in activities with one another. So we try to look for events that really will bring people together and that appeal to them and their interests. And so it might be, an event that's hosted at the Botanical Gardens or something like that really, we did a program on driving not too long ago. And, it's a big concern for all of us as we age. I pity the person that takes my car keys away from me someday. I don't ever want to give that independence up. So we hosted a program at an antique car museum. And so it was great fun, but an important topic for all of us to talk about. And then a fun afternoon just looking at old cars and having lunch together and just that fellowship. So events can be anywhere that members would like to go, basically.
Got it. Just a reminder that this portion of Boomer Generation Radio has been brought to you by Kendal, a system of not-for-profit communities and services that advocates for and empowers older adults to reach their full potential. And together, we are transforming the experience of aging. And to learn more about Kendal, Kendal, visit kendal.org or call them toll-free at 888-759-0128. We've been speaking on this segment with Lynne Giacobbe, the executive director of this wonderful program called Kendall At Home, based in Ohio, and hopefully will continue to be developed. Lynne, we're out of time, and I want to thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for really just bringing a whole bunch of great information about this exciting program. We wish you good luck and continued success. Thank you all. See you all next week.
All right, thank you.